Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to Real Estate Facts. In today's episode, you'll learn about what is a short sale. And if you're out there right now and you might be in that position as a seller to be in a short sale, you'll want to pay attention to this video. And if you're that buyer out there wondering how do you buy a short sale and what are some of the pros and cons of doing so, this video is for you. My name is Andrew Fanny. Please consider me your real estate geek. I am always here to help. My contact information is in the show more description below. Feel free to hit me up if you just want to say hi or if you need help finding a great agent where you live. If you haven't already done so, I'd like to ask you to go ahead and please subscribe to this channel now and like this video. So let's go ahead and get into today's episode about what is a short sale. Let's break it down first with defining what a short sale is. So whenever we're talking about a short sale, it's just like it sounds. So if you break up the two words, you have short and you have sell. So that means the sale is short of something, right? So what happens is as a homeowner, they owe more money on their home than the market value of that property. So since they owe more on their mortgage than the market value of that property, they have to ask the bank's permission to sell that property at a loss, meaning that the bank then has to agree to accept less on that mortgage than is originally owed on it. And as you might imagine, banks aren't exactly loving this too much since they're going to be taking a loss, but it is a great way for a homeowner that's in short sale territory to not go into a foreclosure or one of the other circumstances that could happen with that property. But that foreclosure, I mean, you get a foreclosure, you go into the bank owns, you get repossession of that property, that's really going to screw up a seller's credit and it's going to really hurt them for quite some time before they're going to be able to buy another property. So here's what a short sale is going to do for you as a seller. Number one, you're going to have short sales are going to cause you less damage to your credit report, putting you in a position quicker to go ahead and buy your next home as opposed to going into a foreclosure or going into a bankruptcy. The next thing that's going to do is going to give you the dignity and the respect for yourself that you were able to sell your property without having to go into a short sale or bankruptcy. You were able to get out from underneath that house and save face in the process of doing so. So that's actually huge, and it may not sound like it so much right now, but when the process is done, you're going to feel a lot better about yourself and you're going to feel a lot more confident about getting into your next home and being smarter and wiser from this lesson of what has happened here. In many cases, some people get in the short sale situations, it's not even their fault. It could just be medical expenses, it could be life circumstances, a loss of a job or something like that, and it really sucks. But it is one of those vehicles that help prevent you from going into a bankruptcy or help prevent you from going into foreclosure, and it definitely should be considered. So, you know, the other thing is that a short sale, as the owner of a short sale, if you're wondering about how the real estate commissions factor into that, don't worry about it. The bank is going to actually end up paying the real estate commissions and the cost of sale because they have to agree that you're already short on the mortgage and they're going to have to be taking a loss. So the fees associated with selling a short sale are actually paid for by the bank. And as you might imagine, of course, they might not be so happy about that either, but it is part of the process and it's something that the banks agreed to whenever they accept your short sale petition, if you will. So how do you get started with a short sale if you're in that position? You contact a great real estate agent just like anything else. You want to check out the ratings, the reviews, ideally somebody that has some experience with how to list and sell short sales and is very familiar with the short sale process. That way that they can help you and walk you through it, answer the questions you have. They're going to be working with the bank as a kind of a mediation to try to get them to accept the offer, and that will be the first step actually, because whenever you get that buyer in the door and they say, yeah, hey, I'm happy to buy your home, you the seller are going to say, okay, cool, I'll take it. But that's not the final decision. The final decision is going to come down to getting the bank's blessing and the bank saying, yes, okay, we'll be happy to do that. Now, some banks, it's important to note, might be happier to foreclose on you or force you into a bankruptcy position and then foreclose on you because they can actually turn back around and assume ownership of the property, sell it for more money or something like that, or they actually will collect against your homeownership mortgage insurance policy, depending on the loan type that you had, and it's more advantageous financially to them as opposed to you. So you're going to have some appeals here to the bank that you're going to need to be made, and part of that process is going to be the bank is going to require you to go ahead and put up information and paperwork showing that not only the offer and the letter of the offer, it's actually going to require you to have a hardship letter that you're going to submit to them, explaining to them why you're requesting the short sale to begin with, and explaining why you can no longer make your monthly mortgage payment. And they're going to ask you for your financial documents. They're going to ask you if there were any medical expenses that prevented you from paying the mortgage, if there was a loss of job. They're going to ask you for anything and everything under the sun to justify why they're going to take less on that mortgage that you owe them than they're going to be able to get back from the sale of the property. So now, as a buyer, if you're out there looking for buying a short sale, Depending on the market climate, they can be good or they can be bad. It really depends, because in a seller's market, what you're going to see are banks wanting fair market value or more for that short sale property. And it really sucks for you as a buyer at that point, because you're like, hey, you know, it's a short sale and I would like to get it for less money. And sometimes banks are going to be cool with that, especially in a buyer's market. But if you're in a seller's market, they're not going to be so cool with that. They're going to want fair market value, especially if the home is in good condition relative to the other homes that are being sold in the area. So it's important to know that and be honest with yourself. You know, you think short sale, you think, oh, the bank's taking a loss. Well, they're not going to take that much of a bigger loss because you want to lowball them and get the property. It's just not going to work that way. I mean, would you do it? So it's one of those important things to really think about and be honest with yourself about that. Now, if there's a short sale approval letter, you know, that's the next question that always comes up. How long does it take to buy a short sale? Well, there's 3 different variables that are going to go into that. Number one, if that property was actually in escrow before and the bank had already issued what's called a short sale approval letter, you can close on that property as quick as 30 to 45 days. Now, most commonly, that will not be the case. Most commonly, you're going to go from start to finish, perhaps, unless you're the buyer that ends up dropping the escrow on that property at some point because the bank became like a brick wall and you hit it. In that case, most of the short sales are going to take probably somewhere between 4 and 6 months if you make it through that process. Now, they can take up to 9 months or longer depending on how many lien holders are on that mortgage. The owner of that property may have had a first mortgage, second mortgage, a home equity line of credit. There may have been liens against the property, and everybody's taking a first, second, third, fourth position, and everybody's going to be scrambling since the owner of that property owes them money. Everyone's going to be trying to figure out, well, the first position always is like super priority, right? So whatever's left from paying off the first, then you go to the second and the third and the fourth, and people aren't going to be happy about getting less money, but they're going to try to get what they can, and it can take a longer amount of time to actually get that. So there may be a counter offer involved with that as well. The bank is going to end up sending out an appraiser to determine fair market value, and if you're talking about a period of 6 to 9 months, if the home was on the market at $300,000 and that was fair market for it 6 months ago, but the market appreciates by 4%, right? So 4% would make that same home now $312,000. The bank may be coming back at you saying, hey, we want $312,000 for this property according to the current appraisal. And if you accept it, great, we'll move forward. If not, then too bad, so sad, bye-bye. And they're not going to take your offer, and then you fall out of escrow. And that's how you get that short sale approval letter then at the 312, and you move forward with the next buyer that may want that property. So anyways, if you have some questions about this, I know it can be pretty interesting stuff and can be a little bit confusing sometimes. Try to make it as simple as possible in the shortest amount of time possible in this video today. But if you have questions about it, I'm going to put my contact information up. Please feel free to reach out to me, even if you just want to say hi. Absolutely love to hear from you. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now. Like this video and share it around with someone you know is going to be able to help. Really appreciate you being here today, and between now and next time, I'm wishing you and yours a lifetime full of love, wealth, abundance, and happiness. Thank you.